Hey, honey, can you bring me a throwaway piece of paper, please? I need a throwaway piece of paper for bookmarks.
Just one?
Yeah, just something I can tear up. And hello, person. Whoa. Just went from 1 to 13. That is crazy. I'm starting the chapter of John for anybody that is curious. If you have any questions, feel free. I'll just be here. Perfect. Thank you, honey. Love you. They're actually sticky. They're just pieces of paper. I love. Anybody that is a Bible reader, do you guys, a reader at all, do you guys bookmarks out of paper or do you buy bookmarks that are pretty and special? I'm very simple. I make bookmarks out of scrap paper. I've had this Bible since I was in middle school. Exodus chapter 9 is falling out. Exodus 3, 14 through 15. Exodus 9 and 10, the plague of locusts is falling out. I really need to get a new Bible, but sentiment is attached to this one. Okay, so Exodus 3, 14 through 15, Isaiah 43. I should probably mark that down. I got a circle, that's fine. If you guys have any questions, feel free to ask. I'm not going to say I'm an open book, but if you guys didn't hear, I am studying the first chapter of the book of John. There's a lot of fulfillment of prophecy. Hello. I'm not even going to pretend I know how to pronounce that name, but yeah, studying the first chapter of John, and already in the first chapter there is a ton of prophecy fulfillment. Again, I could pretend to know how to pronounce your username, bro, but I look. I believe that's a compliment. Izzy. Izzy. Baby fell down. But she's tough, so it's fine. No, she's fine. Yes, false teachers. Do you know the question you're supposed to ask false teachers? There is a very specific question that you're supposed to ask them. If you suspect there is a false teacher. Do you know the question? It's in. No, that is not the question you're supposed to ask. The question you're supposed to ask if you suspect someone is a false teacher is Jesus the Messiah? And my answer is yes. Like, for example, anybody who's actually paying attention, in the first chapter of John, there's already two things that is actually confirmed through the Old Testament. So Exodus 3:14 through 15. God said to Moses, I am who I am. This is what you are to say to the Israelites. I am has sent me. And if you look at John 1:14, the Word became flesh and made his dwelling among us. We have seen his glory, the glory of the one and only, who came from the Father, full of grace and truth. I actually have not read the Book of Enoch. My buddy Sam, who is Catholic, he's been encouraging me to read the Book of Enoch. Haven't gotten to that yet. What part about the Book of Enoch would you possibly be interested in talking about? Because I have researched it, I've just never read it myself. Who's Jesus' father? Father, Son, Holy Spirit. Holy Trinity. God the Father, who sent the Son, whose Spirit resides in all of us. The Spirit's the guide, the Son is the Savior, God the Father, Father of all. John 1:23 is actually probably my favorite verse that I'm looking at so far, because it actually references Isaiah chapter 40, verse 3. Don't know why that's there. Chapter 40, verse 3. A voice of one calling in the desert, prepare the way for the Lord, make straight in the wilderness a highway for our God. Right there. The Pharisees and the Levites, Savala, hello. The Pharisees and the Levites came to John because he was causing a bit of a ruckus. And, the spiritual leaders of the time were definitely all over that. And they asked him, are you the Christ? He said, no. Are you Elijah? No. Are you a prophet? No. John simply says, I am fulfilling the prophecy that you read, or that you always read, because they have those scrolls at the time, that he is the voice of the one calling in the wilderness. He's fulfilling prophecy. Outside of that, he's nothing. He's just a guy. He's kind of like me. Maybe a little more deserty. In a couple of the Gospels, it's referenced that his hair grew wild, his beard was unkept. I actually just trimmed this up, or made a decent attempt at it. And he wore animal skins as clothes. And nobody is watching anymore. So that is actually a very good question. I would definitely say more than likely yes, because they were in the Middle East. Who live in the Middle East tend to have a darker skin tone. And I realize that a lot of paintings and drawings that we have of Jesus portray him as very pale. I don't think that's historically accurate at all. Actually, it's very likely that the Garden of Eden itself was somewhere in Africa. Not a guarantee, just possible. And it's actually very likely that Adam and Eve were very dark-skinned as well. And again, I know that pictures and drawings and paintings portray me as very pale. I don't think that's quite accurate. There's nothing historically backing that up. So, yeah. What we learned in Sunday school is, yeah, the whitewash of history definitely not as accurate as they would like us to be. No, he was not a Viking. Oh, man. That's funny. There is a theory, actually, now that you bring up blonde with blue eyes. There is a theory during the Dark Ages. If you guys are not familiar with the Dark Ages, it is a time in history where nothing was recorded. And we don't really know how long it really was. We only have a vague guesstimate of how long it was. But coming out of the Dark Ages, we have a lot of references to the people of the sea destroying a lot of civilizations. It is possible the people of the sea were the pre-Middle Age Vikings, where Vikings might be descended from them. It's possible. But the Viking itself is a very, very interesting time in history to study. Very interesting, the mission work that went into kind of reforming the Viking religion, because the Vikings were hardcore. If you've ever watched the show Vikings, great show. I thoroughly enjoyed it. But yeah, they were very hardcore pagans and actually started converting to Christianity once they started invading England. Did you know the cross is pagans? Technically not. You're not wrong. The Romans actually did a lot of crucifixions before Jesus, and the cross, like you're saying, as a symbol of Christianity, it's more of a homage. It's not supposed to be a fixture per se, but for example, I know a lot of the clan used crosses and the burning of crosses as a pagan ceremony. So yeah, you're not wholly wrong with saying that. And obviously the Catholic Church and the Protestant Church have adopted it as a symbol of overcoming death. So that's what it is. It is not, actually you could even say Christmas not originally Christian, because it wasn't. It was actually a pagan holiday. Fun little fact for you. Pagan holiday of Saturnalia, actually. And it is also more likely that Jesus' birthday was in the summertime, not during the winter. So religious back in the day kind of moved that to coincide with the celebration of Saturnalia. Now we have Christmas, and now it's over-commercialized in 90. Why keep a symbol of, because again, symbol of coming death. Jesus died on the cross, was buried, rose 3 days later. We beat you. Death lost. This is a symbol of our victory. Christmas, Thanksgiving. Christmas, Thanksgiving. I actually do not like. Hi, sis. What you got on your head? I actually do not like when people skip over Thanksgiving, because over here, sis, because I love Thanksgiving. It is a lot of fun. Jesus, King of Kings, no question. Yeah, anyone who does acknowledge Jesus is king overall is vastly mistaken. What's she got on? What? No, the thing. Oh. Oh, absolutely. Oh, goodness. So I'm actually going to just skip to that real quick in Revelation and prove that correct. Blah, 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 blah. The dead are judged. Revelation 20:11. Verse 12, I saw the dead great council standing before the throne, and the books were opened. Another book was opened, which is the book of life. The dead were judged according to what they had done, as recorded in the books. I'm going to be judged one day. It will not be a great time. I have not always lived the life that Jesus calls us to live as followers of Christ. One by one, the book was open. Dead were judged according. I don't know. I don't know if one by one is accurate because, let's be honest, we're too small as people, as human beings, to kind of comprehend like how it may or may not work. All here is the dead were judged according to what they had done as books. That's all I know. Outside of that, I don't know. You say it is? Cool. Sis, what are you doing? What are you doing? You look like, she looks like Rainbow. But no, that is an interesting thought. If it's look, time to me is more of a human construct. So to try to think like every single person, one at a time, even if it took 1 minute to read off everything that they've done, it's astronomical. I can't comprehend it in my head. You'll answer for all your good deeds. Yes, 100%. They will be read. It's also stated that we're going to recognize each other. So I have a feeling there's an awkward moment if my parents are nearby and grandparents, because, like I said, I've not always lived the life that I should be living as a follower of Christ. There was a time between the ages of 22 to about just before I turned 28 that I'm not proud of those times particularly. Yeah, definitely not living the life I need to be living. The fact that I am where I am now, blessed with a family, it's all because of God. No question. Hi, Titi. Hi, Titi. What time is it? 9:17. She won't be ready for bed anytime soon. No, there's pretty much just one guy asking me questions. They're good questions, though. I appreciate your interaction. The thing that always got to me about Revelation 20 is the 1,000 years before Satan's doom. Greetings. Hey, Maine, I have always had a very small thought of living up in the northern woodlands, because I'm originally from born and raised in Indiana, first of all, but always southern Indiana. I'm used to those kind of woods, right? I have never been more north of the Great Lakes. So never like the east northern part of the states. I've never been up there, but I've always heard talk about it. It's just a less untouched than even some of the western states, because I've been way out west. Love western states. Love Colorado, Wyoming, Montana. Been out there a lot. But it's a dream of mine to be up in Maine, like, other than Alaska, the most northern part of the United States. That'd be cool. I always thought it'd be cool to be a lighthouse keeper. I don't know if they even do that anymore. Maybe. But yeah, the 1,000 years before Satan's doom and the lake of fire. wife's dad was mowing their church's lawn. Apparently they've got like 10 acres over there. Crazy. Hey, honey, can you?
What?
I love you.
I'm not having a good time with the baby.
I'm sorry. Unless your dad wants some, can you put the rest up? Like just in a Ziploc baggie.
Raising that flat and trying to put all those pieces in there.
Hi, boss. Okay, so the mark of the beast. Well, first of all, it's very real. First and foremost, let's actually just go over that real quick. Make sure I get this right. I know I was reading the other day. Okay, so we get the rapture, trumpets, the little scroll. Okay, so the great dragon was hurled down, the ancient serpent called the devil. The dragon saw that he had in his mouth, forever. Beast out of the earth. Faithful. He would have been set up. All right, so Revelation 13:16. He also forced everyone, small and great, rich and poor, free and slave, to receive a mark on his hand or on his forehead, so that no one could buy or sell unless he had the mark, which is the name of the or the number of his name. So yeah, and his number is 666. A lot of people speculate on a lot of different things in this world that could be that mark. I don't think we've seen it yet. I think we've seen shadows of what it possibly could be. There's Elon Musk has a bird that you can count. That's kind of scary. Blurry? Talking about the mark or my video? Hey, again, boss. I'm honestly at peace right now. If that makes it may sound weird to say that, but I've said yes to the videos blurry. I'm sorry, that the internet. I apologize. That being blurry. We're kind of out in the sticks here. But yeah, I've said yes to a lot of spirit here recently, and that promise that when you give everything to God and you do and you obey, and you'll have peace that you'll understand. Like it's not an exaggeration. Yeah, like I said, I think we've seen that of what the 666 mark will be, and we definitely have seen it in Hollywood a lot too. If you guys have ever seen the show Arcane, I thought it was a pretty solid show, and then it got weird, very weird. There comes a moment where this magical entity becomes so powerful it imbues power on this one dude, and he hits people by placing his hand like this, and it leaves a mark. These 3 fingers mark on their forehead. I'm like, that's great revelation. So that was kind of weird. Shut off real quick. Do I go to church? I do go to church. In fact, me and my wife, when we moved up here, we did not have a home church. So we visited a couple different churches, didn't really feel at home there. And then we had our first kid, and I'm like, okay, we are taking too long to find a church. We have a baby now. She will be raised in the church, period. So we finally found a church for us. Absolutely fell in love with it. It's a little bit bigger, so a little bit more outreach programs. I currently serve as a small group leader for the 4th, 5th, and 6th grade boys and girls. I'm currently with the 6th grade boys, and they're about to graduate. and then I'll be back to 4th grade, so that'll be fun. And then I'm starting as a adult small group leader in 2 weeks, so that's kind of scary, but it was just one of those things I said to, so I'm rolling with it. Why need a middleman to reach the Lord? Okay. I have a feeling you're referencing Catholic priests, and I'm here to tell you you don't need a Catholic priest. That, to me, is a bit of an archaic version of the Old Testament, where you actually legitimately had to have a priest intercede for you and pray to God. Got that up. He told the Levites, hey, you're going to be the priest, you're going to do all these sacrifices, and all these people, they're going to bring all their things to be strong with, and you're going to offer up these sacrifices, atonement for them to me, and then I will answer. That's how it used to be. You had to go to the tabernacle, talk to the priest would offer up these sacrifices, and then God would bless you. That was the Old Covenant. So think Genesis chapter 20, I believe it was, the covenant with Abraham. No, chapter 13. Genesis 13. All the way through the Old Testament, then we get to Jesus. Jesus dying on the cross broke that covenant. He spilled his blood to break the covenant and established worship through Jesus to the Father. Spirit and in truth, because the Spirit in us. The Holy Spirit intercedes for us. That's part of the new covenant. No, you don't. You actually don't need a middleman anymore. Now, if you're talking about a middleman in more, if you're referring to me specifically, I'm a middleman. I am simply using the words that God gives me to help possibly teach people, guide people to where they need to be. I am by no means trying to be a Catholic priest. Hello, it's going pretty good. I was mostly on baby duty. I got a 10-month-old. She's absolutely adorable. Rewarding to take care of her, a little tiresome sometimes. Well, I'm glad your day is going good. I'm just kind of going over some questions that people are having, referencing Revelation and whatnot. So it's fun for me to share my knowledge and the words God gives me to say. But I'm also, still growing in my walk as well. It's not my own thing. I'm actually very lucky. My grandpa and my dad started ministries when they were 19, and by the time they got to age, they were pretty well established. I have a great pool of knowledge from them if I ever run into something that I actually don't know. Very less than that. Let me go back to John. Word became flesh and made his dwelling among us. We have seen his glory, the one who came from the Father, full of grace and truth. I don't think now that I've reread that, I interpreted that correct. Yeah, I'm back on that. And double check. That's not even in the first chapter of John. I'm not feeling that. I don't know why I put that in there. It is amazing to me how I can go back and read something. I don't know when I made this little note saying that this was a reference to Exodus 3:14 to 15. I just read it again and I'm like, that is not right. But like I said, I'm still growing. Hey honey, what is it?
9:30.
9:30. I think I'm gonna call it here.